Bleacher Report just released their top 20 WNBA player rankings ahead of the 2025 season. So who's in the top 5? Number 1, A'ja Wilson. Number 2, Napheesa Collier. Number 3, Breanna Stewart. Number 4, Alyssa Thomas. And number 5, Caitlin Clark. So let's talk about it.
Have you seen the latest WNBA player rankings? Caitlin Clark, who impressively finished 4th in the MVP voting, has now somehow slipped to 5th place overall. It's hard not to see this as a sign of serious disrespect. Analyst Rachel Data is clearly frustrated by this shift. How does a player who has had such a transformative impact on women's basketball in such a short time end up being ranked lower? The media's reasoning focuses on her lack of championships and a few turnovers, but expecting a rookie to already have championship rings is simply unrealistic. That argument doesn't stand up to real analysis. There seems to be a troubling trend in how these rankings are decided, one that hints at a clear bias against a rising star who's quickly becoming the face of the league. The pattern is becoming more and more obvious. Just take a look at what Rachel Data had to say.
But let's talk about this top 5 because I don't love it. As you can probably guess, I don't love it. Caitlin Clark at 5 is crazy to me, and it's crazy to me just off the rip because if we look at the MVP voting from last season, she was number 4 in MVP voting. It was A'ja, Napheesa, Breanna, and then Caitlin. I don't know how she slides down into the number 5 spot, especially behind Alyssa Thomas.
Let's put this into perspective. Caitlin Clark secured 4th place in MVP voting during her rookie season, a remarkable feat that highlights just how influential she was from the very start. So how does an athlete recognized as the 4th most valuable player in the entire league suddenly drop to 5th in the overall player rankings? The inconsistency is hard to ignore. It's left basketball fans genuinely puzzled, especially when you factor in her tremendous influence on the sport's visibility and growing popularity. Her presence has sparked new interest in women's basketball, making this ranking drop all the more perplexing.
The conversations around Caitlin Clark are reminiscent of crash outs, very often completely out of proportion to the reality of this point. But it is strange to see them continue with such passion, and really all they are is an indication of Caitlin Clark's motion and pop.
What's especially puzzling is who ended up ranked ahead of her. Alyssa Thomas, while undoubtedly a talented player, was placed above Clark despite battling injuries for much of the previous season. It raises serious questions about the criteria being used. Are they rewarding past reputation over present impact?
Because Alyssa Thomas is a veteran getting older in this league, and Caitlin Clark is only going into her 2nd season. She's also not coming off of a college season. She essentially played an NBA season last year, the amount of games that she played. She has had an entire offseason to get stronger, to get ready for the 2nd WNBA season, and now she has pieces around her.
Alyssa Thomas is undeniably skilled, but it's hard to understand how a player who faced significant medical setbacks ranks above a rookie who electrified the league. Veteran analyst Rachel DeMita didn't hold back, calling the rankings crazy and directly questioning the decision to elevate an injury-affected player over someone who quite literally changed the landscape of women's basketball. The rankings seem to overlook Clark's franchise, altering presence. In her rookie season alone, WNBA attendance soared by 74% across the league. The Indiana Fever sold out 17 consecutive home games, a new franchise record. Television ratings experienced a historic surge, with regular season games averaging 1.22 million viewers, up 170% from the previous year. Fans who had never tuned into women's basketball before suddenly became loyal followers. That's the measurable, game-changing Clark effect these rankings have seemingly chosen to ignore.
Personal opinion, she shouldn't be 5. She absolutely shouldn't be 5. I have her top 3. Probably top 2.
This controversy highlights a deeper issue: the media's ongoing attempt to control the narrative around who gets to represent the future of women's basketball. There appears to be a subtle resistance to fully embracing Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise, as if there's an unspoken rule that rookies must wait their turn, no matter how exceptional their performance or cultural influence may be. It's not just about rankings. It's about gatekeeping who gets to lead the sport into its next era.
She was getting double and triple teamed last season, face guarded. You guys seen it. We've talked about it so many times on here, and she was still in the top 4 of MVP voting and still broke so many records as a rookie.
Just consider what Caitlin Clark achieved in her rookie season. She entered a league filled with seasoned veterans, absorbed physical play night after night, faced relentless defensive pressure, and still performed at an MVP caliber level. That, in itself, is extraordinary. Yet somehow, the latest rankings suggest she's regressed, a notion that defies all logic when you look at her contributions. The truth is undeniable. These rankings downplay Clark's transformative effect on the game. It feels as though the message being sent is, thanks for bringing millions of new fans to the WNBA, but wait your turn. Rachel DeMita called it out, and she's absolutely right. Clark's impact stretches far beyond the box score. She's attracting major sponsors, driving record-breaking TV deals.
So let's talk about why they put her at number 5. The writer says Clark was also somewhat tough to slot. Having a rookie ahead of multiple champions and MVPs feels like a case of too much too soon, and there aren't court quibbles to poke at. The turnover numbers, I knew this was coming. Though explainable with coverage and degree of difficulty, context are still a lot. There is certainly growth needed defensively, particularly off the...
The arguments being used to justify Caitlin Clark's drop to number 5 are beyond absurd. Once you actually hear them, it's enough to make any basketball fan's blood boil. The media is clinging to 2 main criticisms, her turnover numbers and her lack of championship rings. But both of these fall apart under even the slightest bit of critical thinking. Let's start with the turnover narrative. Yes, Clark had turnovers, as every rookie does, but the context behind them is constantly ignored. Rachel DeMita, a former player and highly respected analyst, nailed it when she said Clark's passing is so advanced, so surgically precise, that it often exposed her teammates' inability to keep up. Picture this. Clark threads a perfect bounce pass between 3 defenders, anticipating a sharp backdoor cut. But her teammate hesitates, doesn't read the play, and the ball rolls out of bounds. The result: Clark gets tagged with the turnover, even though she executed a high IQ visionary pass. Plays like that aren't mistakes. They're evidence of a player operating at a level ahead of the game around her.
On Caitlin about turnovers and not having any rings. I just want to take this mic and bang it against my head if I hear someone else say that she hasn't won anything and that's why we can't label her as great.
This happens because Clark doesn't just play the game. She sees it differently. She's 3 steps ahead, reading defensive shifts and anticipating openings before they even materialize. When she delivers those precision passes, they're often to spaces her teammates haven't even recognized yet. And when those teammates hesitate or mistime their cuts, the result is a missed opportunity and a turnover, one that lands on Clark's stat sheet, not because she made a poor decision, but because others couldn't match her vision. She's being penalized for playing at a level that's simply ahead of the curve.
There is no one like Caitlin Clark in the history of the WNBA.
So LeBron goes in the league his first season and doesn't win an NBA title, and all of a sudden he can't be top 5 in MVP voting. Like, we don't do this in any other sport, and we especially don't do it in basketball. We do not rank NBA players based on if they won in college or how many titles they have.